Hello, everyone. If you're seeing this, I might not be here right now. I might be seeing my nephew, might be at the coast, but at any rate, it's now that we are reaching a full month since the new tiers rolled out. Here are my thoughts on PlayStation Plus Premium. I'm going to be focusing mainly on legacy titles for now. There'll be another time to address the hundreds of more recent titles, of which the bulk of the PS Now catalog is here. Hundreds of games and even more to come since the launch, so let's run down the list. Okay, so Jumping Flash, even though I was not initially familiar with this platformer, her growing up, discovering it after all this time, it's a a early platformer. It's actually first person, it's kind of unique. I mean, we don't get a whole lot of first person platformers, but personally, it's always a treat whenever we do. And some of these titles I have played before, others I've never played at all, some I haven't tried in years, but I'm definitely going to be just running down the list, giving you my honest thoughts on them all. So, have this first wave, and I'll definitely be, like I did with the N64 online, be keeping up with titles in later waves. So, here we go. Okay. IQ, Intelligent Cube, which is spelled with a Q rather than a C. This case where it's a very unique puzzle game where you, in order to trap cubes, in order to complete each stage, and this is a pretty creative concept as someone who really enjoys puzzle titles. And I always remember the commercial growing up when there's some kid a spelling bee and then a cube drops on top of them. So basically, if you get crushed by a cube too many times or you fall off the stage, that's when the game ends. And so definitely, it's simple to pick up and play, but tough to really master. I'm also liking the music as well, so let's keep going. Siphon Filter, her. While I may not put this series on the same pedestal as Metal Gear Solid or Splinter Cell, since I never really played as much of those growing up, I understand the appeal. I also do love how Days Gone built on its world and premise. I'm very much behind the whole make Days Gone 2 tag, MC Online. But willing to play more of it at least, so there's that. Okay. Tekken 2, still a great fighting game 25 years later. And even though my favorite of the first three is like the third game, I definitely still see why this is others' first favorite installments. I mean, it's not quite an arcade report, but it's close to it. Which, where even though the polygon counts lower than in the arcades, the frame rate is actually consistent 60 frames per second, which is actually a pretty impressive feat for 1997, I'll admit. So, it's not going to be only one that's celebrating its 25th anniversary this year that I'll be talking about on this list, so let's keep going. The original Mr. Driller, even though the games got remastered and I enjoyed it for that, I can still, forgive me for this, dig this puzzle title after all this time. And surprisingly engaging one at that, so I'm definitely noticing like there's a pattern for a lot of third party stuff being represented by Capcom and Namco before the latter merger with Bandai. And they found a lot of titles in the back end. I won't talk about those until I get official confirmation some of them. So as I tend to do. So let's continue. Continuing the title celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. A quarter century later, this puzzle platformer still feels new and tasty all this time, with its humor, its world building, and even though my favorite character, her in Oddworld Creations, is a stranger, and in his title, Stranger's Wrath, I still think that this game is very entertaining title after all this time, which will definitely be very prevalent with the next one we'll be talking about in this initial list of games. Yep. Ape Escape. So, when the DualShock controller hit the scene, definitely enhanced a lot of games already released on the system at that point, but this one was by far the first first game designed specifically for it, making full use of both analog sticks for both traversal and using the array of gadgets to who send a bunch of monkeys. He's back to their respective timelines where they can mess with history. And yes, I know that apes and monkeys are definitely different kinds of animals nowadays, but hey, product license. And I'm not sure about any more installments given how the trilogy is still pretty enjoyable. But if they wanted to remaster them, and the same way they did with Crash and Spyro, I would not object to it, especially given how many advances we've made since then. I could see like the DualSense making a lot of use with traversal and also swap out the gadgets, other weapons as well, so let's continue. Okay, so a couple games from a series which I openly admit I'm unfamiliar with Wild Arms, a Western themed RPG. I never really played these ones growing up, and I may consider doing another video on this one, I might not. But these titles, I'm being totally honest, are starting to show their age. Plus, growing up, I got confused them with Wild 9 and Wild Guns, which are very different and platformer games indeed, like how. But thankfully, I have played the other ones in the first wave of titles. I'm focusing on ones that are unique to the PS4 and now PS5 as well for those who have one. So let's keep going. Okay, I already pointed this out when they revealed this on their blog, but Resident Evil Director's Cut, while this version initially received mixed reviews when it first came out, it's since undergone reevaluation and now is seen as like the best version and easily my belief is definitive version of Survival Horror Classic. Okay, one exception I'm making towards this stuff about the back end is that the original version of RE2 is supposedly going to be part of the next wave. Looking forward to that. I mean, if not, just to see how much has changed since the more recent remake came out in 2019. But yeah, let's continue. Okay, so and one choice that I actually was pleasantly surprised with, Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, which is a surprisingly entertaining game based on the hit film. Pretty timely inclusion given the recent prequel coming out. I also don't have any hard feelings towards the actors that are saying something. Even when it's underperformance, I'm guessing gonna be having plenty to talk about when it comes out in D+. I mean, so yeah, and might as well continue. Okay, so a two-fold untold entry here: Worms Armageddon and Worms World Party, which, after all these years, are still pretty engaged in strategy titles, which happen to be about earthworms or weapons, and I have mixed feelings towards like the Battle Royale of Worms, Battlegrounds, and all the P2 W stuff as well, man, that game. But definitely would recommend these ones. I mean, even factoring in the whole, it sometimes takes a few moments to load a match, so there's that. Last but not least is Echochrome, the first one of the PSP family, as they're calling it, which, despite some discourse, will presumably also include the Vita as well. Hell, it's the first of hopefully many PSP titles also be included on the system tier, and it's a pretty interesting puzzle game, I'm being totally honest, and where you have to manipulate the environment to guide your avatar to the goal without having them fall through the stage. And with that, those are my initial thoughts on PS Plus Premium. I will definitely be looking forward to more potential titles. I had them both my wish list and a bunch of wildcards in the future, so. And that'll be all for now, and I will hopefully see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.